With this round of primes dropping comes Helios Prime. If you are building him, it's a 24-hour build, 30 platinum to rush. The blueprint itself is available from the Lith N1 relic, systems being available from the Lith V3 relic. The Carapace is available from the Neo N5 relic, and the cerebrum, probably the hardest part to get, is the Axi H1 relic. Comparing him to normal Helios, obviously 50 extra health and 50 extra armor, so quickly throwing him on. What kind of polarities does it have? 1D, that's it. Okay, there's at least 3, possibly 4 form I have to go into him. Just out of curiosity, what's he like compared to Carrier Prime? Okay, Carrier Prime, still way more survivable. Worm, kind of the same actually, would survive more than Helios Prime will, so stat-wise it's a bit of a letdown. The Deconstructor should hopefully look pretty nice. It actually does. I'm missing a weapon in here as well, because I accidentally deleted one. I have no idea which one it is. That is actually a pretty nice looking image compared to some of the other ones that look fairly just straightforward. Well, the other ones, there's 2. Hang on. No, this is the 3rd Prime Sentinel, so that's right. But compared to the normal Deconstructor, it's an extra 25 damage. And hopefully comes with some... Nope, no polarities. Wow. There's also a lot of work to go into this to make it pretty decent. Which is one of the reasons why I've gone for Helios Prime before anything else. Because while farming for the other stuff, we'll be able to level him up, because there's a lot of leveling up going into this guy. I don't think as much as I expected originally, but it's still a lot. Did find myself forming a Dion for shields and a Dash on for Animal Instinct, which I do believe is plus 30 loot radar and plus 18 enemy radar. Could be wrong on that. I was going to put more into this, but at the moment, Taxon is kind of the best sentinel around. Okay, doesn't really survive that long, but the fact that he can give you overshields is much more usable than the ability to scan enemies, if you have them all scanned. If you don't, however, Helios Prime, even normal Helios, is an insanely useful sentinel, because he will scan objects. It means you don't have to. You do have to have scans available, of course. He will scan enemies, so if you manage to run stealth, you can actually get a decent few scans in, especially with the whole stealth bonus, before things start to go wrong. And he will still scan even if you're not running stealth, though. It's just you get more affinity if you happen to scan while in stealth. When it came to actually putting detect vulnerability on, however, that's when I still fell back to the whole, I wish there was an augment for Helios that meant the scans worked towards Samaris rep rather than just a normal scan. Kind of the same as I do with the Helio core. I would love an augment for that made it do Samaris things, because farming Samaris rep is such a pain. It would obviously have to abide by the daily cap, and once the daily cap was reached, you just didn't get any affinity, which is probably why it has never and will never come, because having it stop, because it would be like an automated system that goes with the scans, I don't know, I would like it, but it hasn't arrived yet. But putting detect vulnerability in, costing 75,000 Samaris standing, was painful, but also kind of more useful than I expected. I'm glad I started using that. I don't think it's going to sit on the Sentinel all the time, because I did start using way more scans than I've used in a long time, because it just kept scanning things. It was kind of weird. But Helios itself, without putting regen in, or primed regen, actually survived much longer than expected, though this did backfire while leveling him up, because there was a few times he actually died while I was starting to... I think it was after the first form I was fine, but until then, yeah, he kept dying just simply because he didn't have the survivability, because I didn't put shields in, which was just my fault. I let Helios down there. But I wish I'd put regen in, but with the 800 health, it's not really needed as much. Sadly though, the Deconstructor Prime, it did live up to the same hype. I actually managed to make it do more damage than my Stinger, which was great, because I use my Stinger a lot and it kills not everything every time, but it's quite a powerful little weapon. The Deconstructor, on the other hand, once I had it to that level, I equipped a melee weapon and remembered a rather sad truth about Sentinel weapons. Sentinel weapons cannot use the same mods as weapons you have equipped. So those precious prime mods cannot be used on both. If you have a second one, I'm jealous, you're lucky. But prime pressure point can only be used on one at a time. If you have two, you can obviously use it on both. If you don't, you have to choose melee weapon, Deconstructor. You're always going to go for your melee weapon because that's the weapon that you're using. Even suffering without the prime pressure point still had 363 impact, because I did throw collision force in because I happened to have a second one. Well, if I'm honest, I actually took my impact based melee weapon off and went for a different one, and through that mod, I just left that mod on here, I should say. But losing prime pressure point did take the damage down a lot more than I would like to admit. And Fury also kind of did the same thing for attack speed. I know it's only an extra 25 or something percent attack speed, but I just would have preferred to leave them on here and build around those than... I formatted a V and a dash on it. I may format another V and another dash onto it at a later date to increase the corrosive damage. Actually, that's basically just it, just to increase the corrosive damage, because I'm using Virulence, Scourge and Voltic Strike. But until then, I'm just using the dual stat ones, and that's kind of limiting the damage this thing can do. It's a decent weapon, even using just standard mods that don't conflict with the ones on your melee weapon. It still did a fairly nice amount of damage. And my biggest complaint, if I really had to pick one about Helios, is the fact he doesn't use his body parts as a weapon anymore. That is the only downside to Helios Prime. He's much better than normal Helios, much more survivable than some of the other Sentinels, ignoring Carrier, because Carrier Prime is just insane when it comes to that kind of thing. It's just the fact that he doesn't use his body anymore. I should at this point out that the Prime accessories I had on him were the under Prime accessories, quite literally the wrong one, the under Prime accessories, not the Banshee Prime accessories. They're the Ictus Prime accessories. So when you actually see him with the armor pieces on, they weren't the Ictus ones. I do not own the Ictus ones. But anyway, we'll leave this off here for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.